How you doing? Hey guys. Well, tonight is the night where we sit down together as a community when it's near Halloween and we watch some scary videos together. Oh. Well, they are making new content, new horror shorts to tickle down our spines. That's right, horror shorts party. The brilliant team that has made lots of animations throughout their lives. They are a brilliant team, and we are praising them for their work. And I praise them personally because the whole team of Horror Shorts Party is an amazing, the most talented and wonderful people that put their work out there to make us smile, scream, and smile. And if Horror Shorts Party is watching this, I really love you guys. Keep up the amazing work. The work you make is beautiful. I love the art style in every single short you do. I also really like the voiceovers. Bound of Imaginary, Terrence Nicholson, and many others. Anyways, let's get right into this. And let me just turn off the lights. Yeah. And then we can get started. Are you ready? Let's go. Okay. I love doing this. And I love to see your smiling faces. Let's have a quick look. Ooh, you're smiling already. Okay, that's really good. Okay, let's do this. Let me just turn on the headset. We can get started. Let's go. I used to say this about older videos. Let's play and have fun. Bringing back the retro Dylan Kurosaki. Okay, let's go. Okay, let's do this. And dear Lord, hold up, big screen. Alright, we're gonna watch the 3 True Booker King stories. Oh good! Battle of a Mercenary and Arion.
This happened to me recently, and I don't think I can work in a drive-thru.
I love Arion.
I just moved out and got a job at Burger King. I always worked the night shift, as it had less customers, hence less trouble. My apartment was a 5-minute walk
Burger
from
King.
my workplace,
I love
so
the
I had no
Whoppers.
issue getting home late. Overall, it was an ideal job for me to begin with. At least, that's what I thought. It was a boring Monday night, and I was sitting by the counter watching YouTube videos when I heard a car pull into the drive-thru. I quickly put my phone aside and waited for the customer to drive up. As soon as the car approached the window, I said in a fake, joyful voice.
Welcome to Burger King. May I take your order?
Yeah, we're hungry. I saw a man wearing a vibrant colored Hawaiian t-shirt sitting in the driver's seat. He had a disturbing stare, but that's not the only thing that was weird about him. He had a skeleton dressed up as a woman in his passenger seat. I couldn't decide whether it was creepy or funny, but I took the high road and let it slide.
May I take your order, sir?
That's
A Whopper for
I don't
me.
know.
And what will you have, darling? Now the situation took a creepy turn. The man kept talking to the skeleton as if it was a real woman.
It's dead!
He was smiling and laughing and whispering into its ear, which it obviously didn't have. He went on with his insanity for another 5 minutes, and I still patiently waited because that's what was expected of me in this job. Okay, so a Whopper for me, and she'll have a cheeseburger.
I just said I love Whoppers, so no.
Sure, sir.
I handed him the order along with the receipt, and he paid in cash. Seeing his behavior, I could tell he thought the skeleton was a real person. He slowly drove away
Please!
and sat by the window like a statue for at least half an hour. It took me some time to digest what just happened tonight.
Yeah,
After
exactly.
that night, this man became a regular customer.
Oh,
Almost every
no.
other night,
Oh,
he came to
no.
our store dressed in the same manner with his skeleton girlfriend and ordered the same food. At some point, I too got used to it.
I guess he lives
I'm
with the
a person
Adams
who loves
family.
minding her own business, so I never bothered to ask. I just did my job and he went on his way. One night it was raining heavily, and I was waiting for my shift to end so that I could go home.
Quickly.
Suddenly, I saw the man pulling into the drive-thru.
Oh, no.
He ordered the usual and started talking to his skeleton girlfriend. Meanwhile, I found out that we were running short on cheese, so it won't be possible to make a cheeseburger for his skeleton girlfriend tonight.
Sir? I apologize, but we're running a little short on cheese. Can we substitute it with something else?
Oh no, but Jenny loves cheese. This is her favorite.
I understand that, but as I said, we are short on cheese. The triple Whopper is the same price. How about that?
But Jenny doesn't want that. She wants her usual cheeseburger. I was being polite to this freak the whole time, but when he screamed at me, I lost my calm.
Oh no.
Well, why don't you take Jenny where she belongs? Like, a graveyard?
The man widened his eyes and stared at me with an intense gaze. I expected him to be angry at this point, but surprisingly, he didn't get angry. Instead, a creepy grin appeared on his face. Oh, I can see what's going on here. You're jealous. Jenny, she is jealous. Isn't that sweet? She's crushing on you.
Ah!
What the hell?
Ah!
That is nothing but a skeleton, and no one is crushing on you. The truth is, you know you can't even get a real girl.
Oh!
Maybe that's why
Oh!
As soon as I said that, I saw the color of his face change.
Oh
He didn't say a single
no!
word and drove away
Thank
silently.
you.
A week passed by and he was nowhere to be seen. Even though I felt bad for being rude to a customer, he did get on my nerves that night. Hence, he gave me no choice. But after some time, he showed up again.
Without the
This time,
skeleton.
he didn't have the skeleton in his car. He came alone. I
That
wanted
is
to stay away from
interesting.
any kind of trouble, so I behaved professionally.
Your order, sir?
A Whopper for me. I delivered him the food and he handed me the money. I thought, thank God it's over.
Me
Things
too.
took a turn as he took a U-turn and parked his car right across
Oh,
the
why are you doing
street. He
that?
then sat on the hood of his car and started eating his burger while staring directly at me. The mayo
Why?
was dripping from one side, and the ketchup was all over his mouth like blood. He was licking the mayo off his hand without breaking eye contact.
Ah!
He ate the entire burger like this, and then drove away. I
Why?
can't explain this obscene behavior,
Why?
but all I can say is, that night after going home, I took a long bath. I've never felt this disgusted ever. in my life.
Yeah.
The next day, I informed my boss about this man, because this was getting too much for me to take. He told me to call 911 immediately if I see him again.
Good.
He also informed the other day shift workers about this guy. Everyone was on the lookout for him to come and get arrested by the cops for charges of harassment. But again, he didn't show up for weeks. Even though everyone told me this man was just a crazy freak and that he's gone, I knew he would come again. And he didn't prove me wrong. It was around midnight. I was packing my stuff to leave early that day. I already informed my boss about this when suddenly I heard car tires creaking in the near distance. It took me a fraction of a second to recognize the car. It was him, the odd customer. I dialed 911 right away and waited for him to approach me. As soon as he stopped near the window, I noticed something different this time. A girl was sitting next to him. By girl, I mean an actual person. I could tell she was heavily drunk. I could smell the strong odor of alcohol coming from her clothes. She was completely passed out in the passenger seat, and a terrifying feeling grabbed my heart. I knew this man must have lured her into his trap.
Yeah!
Because there's no way a sensible person would ever agree to hang out with
Exactly!
He gave me a death-cold stare and smiled in the scariest way possible. That's my girlfriend. And she is real.
I know! No, she's not!
Before I could act on this manner, he took out a wrench from the car's glove compartment and stared at me one last time. See for yourself. Here we go. The blood on the girl ruthlessly.
Stop!
She's real! She's real! She's real! He kept screaming like a psycho while smashing her face with the wrench. Her body started to tremble like roadkill, but due to her stage of intoxication, she couldn't get the chance to scream once. I froze at the window. I couldn't believe what was happening in front of my eyes. The man kept beating her, even after her brains came out, gushing with blood splattering everywhere. I told you she's real! Now do you believe me?
No, she ain't!
Oh!
No!
I heard the sirens of the cop cars nearby, but I couldn't bear the sight anymore. I collapsed on the ground, screaming out loud. 2 days later, I woke up in the hospital. My boss came to see me. He told me that the cops caught the man red-handed. There's no question he's guilty of first-degree murder. The girl he murdered that night went to the local pub. He probably picked her up once she passed out and brought her to the drive-thru. The cops are making sure that this psycho gets what he deserves. I don't think I'll ever be able to erase that night from my mind.
Me either!
My fault that the girl lost her life? Did I provoke the creep to do this?
No!
What do you think?
I was a full-time employee at Burger King and had worked a monotonous 10-hour shift every day. The quality of my life wasn't the greatest, as the countless hours of work were starting to become more and more strenuous. I desperately needed money, as I wanted to move out of my grandfather's house and into a residence of my own. My grandfather took the responsibility of taking care of me since I was an infant, due to the tragic loss of my parents. My mother and father had suffered.
Oh my God, mine too.
My grandfather full custody of me. I began
and then
as I got older, but
that's
cool. Enough, wasn't too affected by it, as he fit the bill of being the best caretaker that a kid could ever ask for. Playing duck hunt was one of my favorite things to do whenever I wasn't so busy at work. My grandfather didn't own any that you would usually
oh, that was adorable!
Just the old school Nintendo with the classic gun controller. Hey, Grandpa. Don't worry about me, son. Pay attention to the game and get that birdie. That's it, Larry. Now go on. Shoot the birdie. Now! Besides entertaining Grandpa with my spectacular duck hunt skills, I was usually serving customers at the drive-thru of Burger King. I always switch back and forth from the kitchen to providing customer service at the front counter. Our location wasn't usually as busy as most Burger King branches, as we were located by the corner of a quiet residential area. And there weren't many teenagers or kids around.
That guy, the outro!
Mostly just an older crowd that were either retired
and then
or just big fans of our adversary, McDonald's. Working at Burger King for a long duration of my postgraduate time off made me familiarized with the regulars who would come to dine in. I was usually
And
scheduled for the
why?
night shift, so the difference in crowd was pretty evident, as our venue always seemed to attract homeless people.
Oh,
and
that.
widows
I hope it's that. That he's
then
just
there
a
was this
fan.
one guy who would always arrive around 9 p.m. every evening
I'm
dressed as a
hoping.
Burger King mascot. It was pretty evident this guy was either some crazy lunatic or just a really huge Burger King fan who wanted to look the part. I always got a few laughs and giggles every time I saw him, as the mock-up of the Burger King mascot was pretty accurate but at the same time outlandish. As impressive as
30!
I was more intrigued by the absurd orders he usually requested.
Okay!
Hi, sir. Welcome to Burger King. May I take your order? The mascot then said, "Give me 30 Whoppers."
Dear God, he's like $100.
Sir, are you sure you want 30 Whoppers? I said 30 Whoppers! Make Whoppers now! Okay, sir.
Dear
just
God,
sandwiches,
30?
or would you like to make it a combo? Have it your way. The mascot then placed about $150 on the counter and began walking towards the seating area.
Was it gonna do like a YouTube
The
thing?
employees in the back began preparing the 30 Whoppers. About 10 minutes later, I brought a stack
Wow!
of Whoppers on a tray towards the mascot's table and noticed he had his cell phone held
And
up
eat
by
it
a
up for
salt
YouTube.
shaker with the video. I placed the tray down and casually walked back behind the front counter. I then saw the mascot completely demolish the Whoppers one by one. It appeared he was either filming a mukbang or just had a preposterous craving for Whoppers. I recall seeing the mascot eat a total of around 10 Whoppers out of the bunch and then pass out from the inevitable itis while drooling on the furniture. The time was around 12 a.m., which was when our restaurant closed for in-dining service, and also when it was the end of my shift. I knew in the back of my head that I had to politely escort the man out, so I slowly approach him as I see him snoring heavily. I gently tap his shoulder and say, "Hello, sir. I unfortunately need to ask you to leave as we're closing." Give me Whopper. Give me
please no.
Give me Whopper. Sir, I'm politely asking you to leave. Make me
Thank
Whopper
goodness
and I
me.
leave. Sir, we can't do that. You need to leave now. I firmly secure my stance with an assertive poker face, while trying not to show any signs that I was nervous as hell. The mascot then gets up and walks out of the restaurant. Calling an Uber was completely necessary, as I wanted to avoid potentially being seen by that weirdo on the street or public transit. The time was roughly 1 a.m. when I made it home and immediately got in the shower. My paranoia began setting in, as all I could hear was weird noises coming from outside my shower curtain. Grandpa, is that you? That's when I heard the same Burger King mascot voice from earlier saying, "Open the door." What the hell? How'd you get inside my house? Open the door! Open the door! Open the door! Get the hell out of here!
Get one of the headshots that do I need to kiss her!
That's when the man grabbed a hold of the door hinges and repeatedly slammed his head against the door. Get the hell out of my house or I'm calling the cops! As the mascot continued slamming his head, I remembered my grandpa secretly keeping one of his handguns stashed in the bathroom cabinets. I took it out and pointed it towards the door as I said, "Please, please don't make me do this. Please just go. I have a lot to live for." "Here's Johnny!" The mascot successfully plummets his head through the door. Just then, I see my grandpa standing next to me. I shout, "Grandpa, help me!" "That's it, Larry. Now go on. Shoot the birdie."
It's okay. Calm
I
down.
pulled the trigger and said, "Look, Grandpa, I did it! I killed the birdie! Aren't you proud of your grandson? I still got it, don't I?"
Oh my God. Alright, let's do the last and third horror story with my guys bound of imaginary. Let's go.
It was late spring, around the month of May, when I landed a full-time position at my local Burger King. The Burger King was about a 15-minute walk from my apartment complex, so getting there wasn't so dreadful of a commute compared to my previous locations of employment. Like I said before, I was a recent hiree, so I was at the stage of getting used to the workplace. The job consisted of tasks such as making food at a fast rate, doing the usual customer service at the drive-thru window and front counter, and of course, the everyday maintenance work around the restaurant to help keep the cleanliness at a reasonable standard. I personally found everything about the job fine, except for the night shifts that my boss would occasionally schedule for me. I unfortunately had to take every shift handed to me, as I was the newbie of the workplace who didn't have the same seniority that the other staff had. I would usually work alongside my coworker Jeff, who was also a new hiree, and happened to be around the same age group as myself. We got along pretty well, as he was a humorous, witty kind of guy who would often crack jokes and do silly pranks just to make the lengthy shifts go by. Well, at least with the exception of this older gentleman named Bob. Our boss usually scheduled Bob to work with us during the weekends, including Fridays, as we tend to garner more customers around that time. I honestly felt uncomfortable every time Bob was around, as he always gave me an unsettling smirk and would flirtatiously wink at me whenever Jeff or myself would make eye contact with him. I was honestly convinced he had a thing for
that's okay, that's okay.
myself, so I did my best to stay professional and be cordial during our work shifts. I remember during one of the day shifts, I went to go use the urinal in the men's washroom, only to see it being occupied by none other than Bob. Our washroom was quite small and only consisted of one toilet and one urinal stall, so there was a high probability that you were bound to wait till someone was done doing their business. What made things worse was how this was the only men's washroom in the facility, so that meant that it was what our employees used
really have to
alongside
go.
the hordes of customers that
like
came in and out to the restaurant. Looking at the toilet from a distance always made me want to puke, as the toilet seat was usually covered with disgusting fluids and more
they clean the toilet.
Was rarely flushed by the last person doing it.
Why would they clean the toilet?
I personally despise using the washroom here, and only came here strictly for the urinal and nothing else. As I waited for Bob to finish his business, I could recall him looking back at me while simultaneously peeing. I casually drifted my eyes away from him and pretended that I was checking myself out in the mirror by the sink. The atmosphere in the room suddenly became extremely unpleasant and awkward. As much as I avoided making eye contact with this weirdo, I could feel his eyeballs latching onto me, like he was giving me some kind of death stare from hell. I remained composed and continued to keep my eyes glued to the mirror. Through my peripheral vision, I could still make out that he was looking at me, except he was now sticking his tongue out while licking the bottom of his lips, as if my appearance made him parched.
Okay.
I remember contemplating whether I should just wait outside, or if I should just wait a couple more seconds for him to
go outside.
A million thoughts began to scramble inside my head, saying, why the hell does he keep looking at me? And who the hell pees for this long? Time began running slow, as each second passed by, when I began to realize that I couldn't hear him peeing at all. All I could hear was the ambient noise coming from the customers at the dining area, and my throbbing heartbeat beginning to slowly intensify the longer I stood in the washroom. I then slowly shifted my eyes directly at Bob and said, "Hey, are you done using the urinal?" "Does it look like I'm done, kid? I'm still standing here, aren't I?" "Dude, I need to pee. Do you mind hurrying up?" "Why would I hurry up? I'm just getting started, if you know what I mean. And I think you do." That's when I repulsively looked at Bob in a vile manner and proceeded to use the available toilet stall to do my business. I remember doing a number one while closing my eyes and holding my breath in, as I didn't want to see what feces or fecal matter lied within the toilet. After I was done, I used the tip of my shoe to flush the toilet and proceeded to wash my hands when I see Bob now occupying the sink. Again, I stood there
Really,
waiting for
Bob?
him, as I can see him
Really,
glancing
Bob?
towards my direction while washing his hands, saying, "Hey, the urinal's all yours, kid," and then disturbingly winks at me. I could now tell that he was intentionally taunting me and was trying to fish for a reaction for the sake of his sick pleasure. I don't need it anymore. I just need to wash my hands now. You want to wash your hands? Well, you're gonna have to wait, beautiful. Unless you want to share the sink with me. I'll just wait outside until you finish. Oh no, you're not. You wouldn't want to serve Whoppers with those dirty hands now. Just wait a couple more seconds for me to wash my wrinkly old hands. Then you can wash yours after. Okay, beautiful? Stop calling me that. What the hell are you two yelling at? Get in the kitchen and make some Whoppers. We're behind on orders. Bob turned off the faucet and proceeded to exit past my boss while saying under his breath, I was just washing my hands, and the little boy yelled at me because he got too impatient. I then began to wash my hands as my boss casually approached me and whispers, Hey, Russ, don't mind Bob. He's been working here for a while and can be a little weird sometimes. I hope everything's okay. Yeah, everything's fine. He definitely is something else. Don't worry, kiddo. I do plan to have him do some other work besides the kitchen soon. Thanks, boss.
Okay, that'd be
I hope it can happen
too.
sooner rather than later. Several days after this incident, I remembered watching TV in my living room just before leaving my house for work, except this time I was scheduled for a night shift. The time was approximately 9 p.m. when I left my house and began to walk towards the Burger King. As I approached the front of the building, I could see a Burger King mascot standing outside of it, while waving his arms back and forth like he was attempting to attract more customers. I found this quite bizarre considering I wasn't expecting to see such a thing when entering work. I remembered approaching the front door as the mascot intentionally blocked my entry. Do you work here? The mascot just stood there in silence, while hellaciously gawking at me with the devious Burger King mask, as if he was expecting to get a reaction out of me. I honestly felt oblivious about the whole ordeal, so I decided to head inside through the back entrance of the Burger King. As I got inside, I was greeted by my fellow coworker Jeff, who pulled me to the side and said, Hey, dude, you know who that BK mascot is, right? No. Who is it? It's Bob. The boss gave him the gig so he could potentially attract more customers, but from the looks of it, I think he's scaring everyone away. Well, at least he's not in the kitchen with us anymore.
But he's scaring customers away.
He should be heading home soon anyway. His shift is basically almost done. Thank God for that. About an hour into my shift, it was just me and my friend Jeff running the kitchen and drive-thru orders. The indoor dining area was closed due to after hours, so we basically had the whole restaurant to ourselves. I could recall Jeff excusing himself to use the washroom while I continued to watch YouTube videos on my cell phone while awaiting the next drive-thru customer. I remember slightly drifting off to sleep when I see
back outside, Bob!
The mascot make an appearance. Bob? What the hell are you doing here? I then noticed the mascot holding a large kitchen knife while slowly raising it in the air as if he was preparing to potentially stab me. I shouted, Get the hell away from me or I'm calling the cops! Help! Somebody please help me! I contemplated on jumping out the drive-thru window, but instead took a more sinister approach by grabbing the kitchen knife conveniently sitting next to the deep fryer. I raised the knife up with my trembling hand, as if I was ready to fight for my life. The mascot then raised the knife up and began walking towards my direction as I began pleading for my life as I said, Bob, please stop. Please don't do this. I have a lot to live for. That's when the mascot miraculously slips on the ground from the lettuce scattered all over the ground, as a knife he was holding reach. I then stood on top of the mascot and yelled, This is why they call it Burger King foot lettuce! and began repeatedly stabbing through the chest area of the costume. It's just self-defense. He was trying to kill me first. There's no way in hell I'm going to jail today. Kid, what the hell are you doing? That's when I slid the Burger King mask off who I thought was Bob, only to see my friend Jeff. It was just a prank. No! Ah!
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Holy moly! Ooh, let me get the lights. Oh my lord! Ho ho ho! Oh my lord! Oh, that was something. That was still something. Oh my lord. Alright, well. First of all, Holy Shorts Party, as always, you did a good job. Love the animation, love the narration, and love the voiceovers. You guys are Holy Shorts Party. Shout out to your whole team. You guys put so much work into your videos, and they're amazing. They're beautiful. Keep up the hard work. Seriously. You guys are amazing. Anyways, hopefully you and Holy Shorts Party enjoyed today's video. And if you want to see some more, subscribe to Holy Shorts Party. So that way you guys can also watch their stuff. Their stuff is brilliant. The anime... Just go and subscribe to them. They're an amazing team. Help them out. And, as always, guys, hit that notification bell to be updated on every upload I upload. And Astro, blast that like button. And keep chillaxing, relaxing, and don't stop believing. And most of all, I love all of you. And I love you, Holy Shorts Party.